In the heart of New Mexico, nestled between rugged mountains and vast deserts, lies a small, isolated town named Tres Palmas. The town was known for its serene landscapes and tight-knit community, but it also carried a darker reputation. Tres Palmas bordered a narrow mountain pass, notorious among locals for eerie sightings and unexplained happenings. This pass, winding its way through steep cliffs and thick pine forests, was dubbed La Llorona Pass after the famous Mexican legend of the Weeping Woman. For decades, travelers passing through the area reported hearing a woman's mournful wails in the dead of night. Most dismissed these claims as the wind howling through the mountains, but as time went on, the stories grew darker and more unsettling. It was said that once every few years, someone driving through La Llorona Pass would disappear without a trace, their vehicle abandoned on the roadside. Our story begins with a young woman named Elena, a college student from Albuquerque, who was returning home after a weekend visiting family in southern New Mexico. It was late at night, and her GPS led her through the notorious La Llorona Pass. Unaware of the local lore, Elena drove cautiously along the twisting road, the moonlight barely illuminating the narrow path ahead. The further she went, the more uneasy she felt. Shadows seemed to flicker at the edge of her vision, and a cold dread settled in the pit of her stomach. As she rounded a sharp bend, Elena spotted something in the middle of the road, a figure draped in white, standing motionless. Startled, she slammed on the brakes, her tires screeching on the gravel road. The figure didn't move. Heart pounding, she squinted through the windshield and saw what appeared to be a woman, her long dark hair tangled and wet, her face obscured by shadows. Hesitant, Elena rolled down her window just a crack and called out, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" The woman said nothing but slowly lifted her head, revealing hollow eyes and tear-streaked cheeks. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and a bone-chilling wail filled the night. The sound wasn't human, it was something much more sinister. Panicking, Elena tried to reverse her car, but the engine sputtered and died. She frantically turned the key in the ignition, but it was no use. The woman in white began moving towards the car, her feet gliding just above the ground. Elena's breath hitched as the figure came closer, her eyes now glowing with an unnatural light. Desperate, Elena fumbled for her phone, but there was no signal. The woman was now only a few feet away, her ghostly face staring through the windshield. With nowhere to run, Elena screamed as the woman let out another piercing wail, her hand reaching out towards the car. Then, as suddenly as she had appeared, the figure vanished. The air warmed, and the eerie silence of the night returned. Shaking, Elena turned the key one last time, and miraculously, the engine roared to life. Without looking back, she sped down the pass, her heart racing, tears streaming down her face. When she reached the safety of the nearest town, Elena pulled over at a gas station and tried to compose herself. She asked the attendant if anyone had ever seen strange things in La Llorona Pass. The old man behind the counter nodded solemnly. "They say she's the ghost of a woman who lost her children in the river below. Now she wanders the pass, crying for them. But if you see her, you're lucky to escape. Most who do never make it out." Elena never drove through La Llorona Pass again, but she knew she would never forget the terrifying encounter with the phantom who haunted those desolate New Mexico mountains. Some say the legend of La Llorona is just that, a legend. But Elena knew the truth. The weeping woman was real, and she was still out there, waiting for her next victim.